Careful, you're not bending Barbie here. Here's your look at the Noble Collection toys, the Conjuring Universe, Bendyfigs of Annabelle. This authentic, intricate, bendable figure of Annabelle is inspired by the popular Conjuring franchise. It includes a branded stand for proud display and stands approximately 7.5 inches in height. Anxious I have been to get my hands on this bendable demonic doll. For those interested and would like to pick up Annabelle for themselves and would be curious to know how tall the figure stands, happy to oblige. Bringing in my trusty ruler and putting it as close as I can get it. Maybe not too close. The doll is evil after all. But getting it somewhat close. Annabelle seems to stand at 6 3/4 of an inch tall, or just a little over 17 centimeters tall. Not really sure why I was whispering there. Probably just the fear got the better of me as she's staring right at me. By the way, as well, I'd like to thank the folks over at Noble Collection Toys that did provide the sample of the Bendyfig Annabelle. You may have also noticed several Bendyfig reviews been popping up here on the channel as of late. All thanks to, again, to the folks over at Noble Collection that have been providing the samples you guys have been seeing. Now, Annabelle comes included with a display stand. No different the stand is than the Valak that we've already looked at before. It also looks like it's shared the same stand as the ones that came included with the Gremlins. The Bendyfigs of the Wizard of Oz, slightly different because, of course, they want to incorporate the Yellow Brick Road, follow the Yellow Brick Road. But this is actually more the traditional two-tier, multi-tier black stand that has the 2 pegs on the top. And in this case, Annabelle's been printed down below. It results sort of in looking like the display stand's a bit under the weather. It's okay. It's okay, display stand. One thing also carried over from the Valak one that we looked at earlier is the fact that it's got also the cracks that have been painted onto the surface of it. I think it adds just a little bit of extra appeal to it. Flipping the stand upside down, embossed at the top of the plastic, you can see there's Bendyfigs, and down below that, the Noble Collection Toys, producing Bendyfigs. Quite a lot that we've looked at lately here again on this channel. I'm going to put the stand over to the side, not too far away though, because the figure does have a little bit of mild problems when it comes to standing. I think a lot of it is the fact that the figure does have a slightly larger head, and also because the figure does have slightly rounded feet. You'll only believe what I mean in a second when I lift this up. See how her feet are a little bit more kind of rounded? It's kind of rounded on the side. They kind of look like they're made out of marshmallows. Delicious marshmallows. But it sort of does result in the figure having a little more stability issues when standing. All the more reason to bring in the display stand. Didn't mean to surprise you guys there. And then you can take those pegs along the top, a little sad stand, and you can plug those into the undersides of the feet on both the sides. Once that's in place, now you have much more secure feeling of knowing the figure's not going to be falling over on you. And also, too, really, the neat thing about the display stands is that they allow for more clearance. Having the foot peg slightly further back, it also happens to tell you the name of the character on the top there, too. And that's one thing I really like about the display stands. Going ahead for the time being, though, and removing said stand, we're going to put that to the side and get a closer look here at Annabelle. Starting things off first with her head sculpt. Attention to detail, for considering this is a Bendyfig and all, have been certainly put there. I mean, down to the fact that they even have put the crack in the one eye, I think is a nice touch on their part. They have airbrushed dark areas around the eyes to really add to the eeriness of Annabelle. It's almost like she's staring into your soul. They have put the little cracks there on the chin, little scratches on the side of her face, and even cracks down below there on the neck. One attention to detail I love the fact that they did is that in the movie, of course, she's an assembled doll, right? She would have been made of a body and then added the limbs and the head and the neck and all that stuff to it. Even though this is really one body mold, you can see that they've sculpted the base of the neck right here as if it's a separate piece that would have been assembled together, like the doll. Why am I talking with my hands? So I think that's a really fun touch. It doesn't mean necessarily the figure has any head articulation, quite the contrary, but the fact that they did actually sculpt it in such the way that it actually looks like the doll's been assembled. Paint-wise is pretty good as well. I could say that it could use a little more grime, because in the movie, she looks quite grungy looking, really dark areas on her face. Like, the skin tone is good, but I would have just turned it up even more of a notch and added a bit of an additional wash. Kind of what they're doing here with the darker areas around the eyes, mimicking some of that maybe around the outlining of her face, just to really grimy, make it much more grimier. She does have these softer pigtails here on the front. And again, just want to show you guys what it looks like here on the back. Technically, you could remove the dress, I don't know why you really would need to, but just to show you guys what it looks like underneath. The attention, again, to detail further goes, as you can see, the way they've sculpted the body. I mean, this is a part to the figure you would never see in the first place. I'm only just opening up the dress so you can actually see what it looks like underneath. It looks like one of those doll bodies, where this probably was a softer material and they would have just attached more plastic limbs to it, sculpting in such a way that it actually looks like the neck has been stitched in place. And it really does have a nice looking effect to it. Again, this is just rubbery plastic that they've used. The doll dress, of course, is a real material, and we're just going to kind of roll the sleeves up so you can see like the sculpting of the arms. They're a little on the thicker side, but like the fact that they are actually housing inside wireframes means that you can actually bend the arms. Again, just kind of bring the sleeves as far up as I can get it. Just hold on 1 second. Hold on. Bear with me. Bear with me. There you can see. So yeah, the arm is actually a separate piece to the rest of the body. When would you ever see this short of just rolling up the sleeve? Now, everybody that's picked this figure up is going to probably do the exact same thing. But again, they didn't have to do this. They could have easily just used the same sculpt all the way up to the shoulders, and no one would be any bit the wiser. The air holes, of course, tell you that there's the wireframe, so you can bring the arms up. It really does serve as I don't want to say the sole bit of the articulation in the way that you can actually bend and pose the figure. Technically, yeah, you can roll the legs up as well, and there's what the body looks like underneath. Nice little woven texturing that they've put to the body. But yeah, you can technically bring the legs back as well. Like you can have her more in a walking pose. The feet are sort of unfinished. Technically, though, I mean, to be fair, like the dress is going to be covering over it anyways. It's not like Annabelle has shoes here in this case. So, I mean, again, when you are displaying her, you're really not going to be seeing her footwear anyways. Nice, big, large flower there on the side of her belt, and some additional trim work in red that they've also added to the dress really finishes off this figure rather nicely. As you can probably already see by the fact that we only looked at the display stand and a display stand alone, Annabelle doesn't come included with a chair. Even if you were to find a chair of this size, I really don't think you'd be able to bend the legs completely to that capacity where you'd be able to actually have her sitting in a chair. The wireframe, due to the thickness of the body, again, you can only really kind of bend from the knees down and bend more from the elbows. There's nothing really happening here with the head. So in this case, even though Annabelle, most of the time you consider her as a character that's sitting in the chair all the time, this would be one exception to the rule where you're actually going to be having her standing instead. I think, in fact, that's a little bit more scary, the fact that you've got Annabelle on your shelf like this. Don't maybe take the idea of putting the figure on a shelf slightly turned, have her facing forward the whole time. Because I would fear that if you put her on a shelf like this, slightly turned to the side, the next day that you come down to your collection room, you may notice that Annabelle has corrected herself and staring straight at you. Yeah, nice looking Annabelle. Color-wise, body-wise, she could have been a little grimier, like kind of the way she looks in the movie. But I think the Noble Collection has done a great job on releasing this figure. Again, the fact that she's sized a little bit bigger certainly makes for also one of the bigger-looking Annabelle collection pieces that have come out, because a lot of times the ones that we've looked at in the past generally seem to be quite small in size. If you want a nice detailed-looking Annabelle that does also function as a Bendyfig, let's, of course, remind ourselves what these figures are in the first place. They're bendable figures. This is a great collection piece to be putting on a shelf. But again, have her straight facing forward. Don't turn her to the side. Don't do this. Because, again, next morning you may come down and see her staring straight at you. Really nice release, though, from the folks over at Noble Collection Toys. Speaking of demonic things, were we speaking about demonic things? Yes, we were. We were speaking of demonic things. I really should have brought in the Nun Valak as a comparison of sizes. They're going to be roughly about the same size of figures. Though in real life, of course, the Nun Valak would be human-sized, and Annabelle would be quite considerably shorter. Size-wise isn't, again, the reasoning why you're going to be wanting to pick up these figures. You're going to be wanting to probably pick up these figures. The fact that they are really nice renditions of these horror characters that we've seen in the films. So far, we've covered off the territory of the Conjuring universe, but also Noble Collection Toys, under their Bendyfigs banner, has also produced Regan from The Exorcist, which we, by the way, I don't want to tip my hat too early to tell you guys what's going to be coming up in an upcoming review, but we are also going to be looking at Exorcist Regan. Again, thanks to the folks over at Noble Collection Toys. This one doesn't have the chair for the obvious reasons, just because you wouldn't be able to bend her legs that far up. Even though she is a bendable figure, there's, of course, limitations when it comes to these bodies. The more, of course, material that they're using in some of the elements, like even limbs, for example, some of the thicker, more muscular-bodied figures just don't have the means to be able to bend their arms. Annabelle has a little more slender of an arm, so you can bend her arms, and you can bend her legs a little bit, but I probably would just decide instead to keep her legs straight because she's going to work a lot better here on the display stand, which again, I would probably recommend just because her feet are slightly more rounded at the bottom, not completely flat-footed, Annabelle is, and may result in the figure falling over. So I would definitely use the display stand. Plus as well, the display stands are nice to be included with the figures. They tell you the name of the character first of all, and they're decorative looking display stands too. So it does look nice, like you actually got a showpiece on your shelf. Nice looking Annabelle though. Now this one is advertised from Annabelle Comes Home, which ironically is my least favorite Annabelle movie. Annabelle Comes Home always feels to me like I'm watching a direct-to-DVD sequel. The fact that you don't even have a lot of the main characters in the movie, they just sort of make their appearances in the beginning and then sort of just, hey, we're here at the end of the movie. I'm not a big fan of Annabelle Comes Home. For your video question though, of the Annabelle movies, which one is your favorite? I think there's 3 Annabelle movies. Correct me if I'm wrong. Which one is your favorite? Let me know down below in the comments section. I don't know why, again, I was whispering. Big thank you, though, again, to the folks over at Noble Collection Toys that did provide the sample of the Bendyfigs Annabelle that we can have a look at here in this video. If you guys are new to this channel, and you are enjoying, of course, the content that you guys have been seeing, loving the fact that we've been doing Bendyfigs as of late, first of all, if you can, hit this video with a like. That is, of course, if you've enjoyed it. If you're loving this channel and want to certainly stay on board and see more from this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and turn on the bell notification so you get those friendly reminders, those 411s necessary to know when new videos are going to be popping up. And also keep your peepers peeled, because of course, while we have wrapped up things here for the Bendyfigs of Annabelle, there is going to be the Bendyfigs review of Exorcist Reagan. Oh, did I just give it away? I did just give it away. Her review will be right around the corner. As always, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.